listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 24. We're continuing in the book of Genesis. And in chapters 47 and 48, we see that there is trouble in Egypt and the land around Egypt. But Joseph, as governor of Egypt, is smart, and he makes a deal with the people that will not only help them, but really, at the end of the day, make Egypt a powerful empire. But as smart as Joseph is, he can't seem to outsmart his own father. As we remember, his father is Jacob, who fooled his own father Isaac and stole his brother Esau's blessing. We know Jacob is a crafty guy, and even though he's an old man, old habits die hard. And so when Joseph asks his father Jacob to bless his Egyptian sons, Jacob does a little trick and he switches hands when he blesses them. He puts his right hand on the second-born instead of the firstborn. Now, he is old and somewhat blind, so Joseph thinks that his dad's making a big mistake and tries to correct him. But no, Jacob knows exactly what he's doing, and he blesses the second-born instead of the firstborn, and then later asks his son Joseph to be buried back home with his ancestors, back in the land of Canaan. And in the New Testament, we're continuing in the book of Matthew. Jesus has a discussion with his followers about what it means to truly follow him as Christ. And part of that is really giving up their own life in order to serve God and God's will. But then a supernatural occurrence happens when Jesus gets his closest followers and shows them something no one has ever seen. And after they see it, they have all the proof they need that Jesus is indeed the Son of God. What did Jesus show them exactly? Well, you'll have to stay with us to find out. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry, and you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. Genesis chapter 47, verses 13 to 31. Joseph buys land for Pharaoh. The famine got worse, and there was no food anywhere in the land. Everywhere in Egypt and Canaan, the people were suffering from hunger. Joseph sold the people more and more grain until he had collected all their money. He took the money and stored it in Pharaoh's palace. When the people in Egypt and Canaan had no money left, they all came to Joseph and said,
"Please give us food. Our money is gone. If we don't eat, we will die here in front of you."
But Joseph answered, "If you have no money, give me your livestock, and I will give you food." So the people brought their livestock to Joseph, and he traded them food for their horses, sheep, goats, cattle, and donkeys. So all that year, Joseph provided the people food in exchange for their livestock. But the next year, the people came to Joseph and said,
"Master, surely you know we have no money left, and all our livestock belongs to you. So we have nothing left for you except ourselves and our land. They will not help you to watch us die and our land be ruined, but give us food in exchange for our land, and we will be slaves to Pharaoh. Give us seed to plant, then we will live and not die, and the land will not become a desert."
So Joseph bought all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh. The famine was so bad in Egypt that everyone who owned land sold it for food. Finally, all the land belonged to the king, and everywhere in Egypt the people became Pharaoh's slaves. The only land Joseph did not buy was the land the priests owned. They did not need to sell their land because Pharaoh paid them for their work, so they had money to buy food. Then Joseph said to the people, "Now, you and your land belong to Pharaoh, so I will give you seed, and you can plant your fields. At harvest time, you must give 1/5 of your crops to Pharaoh. You can keep the rest of the grain to use as seed for planting and as food for you and your families." The people said,
"Master, you have saved our lives. We will gladly be slaves of Pharaoh."
So Joseph made a law for Egypt that continues today. 1/5 of everything the land produces belongs to Pharaoh. The only land he does not own is the land of the priests. The Israelites continued to live in Egypt in the land of Goshen, where they again became wealthy. They had many children, and their families grew to be very large. Jacob was in Egypt 17 years, and he lived to be 147 years old. When the time came for him to die, he called his son Joseph to him and said,
"If you love me, promise me with an oath that you will show me your faithful love by doing what I ask. Don't bury me in Egypt. When I die and go to join my ancestors, bury my body in the place where my ancestors are buried. Carry me out of Egypt and bury me in our family grave."
Joseph answered, "I will do what you have asked." Then Jacob said,
"Make a vow to me."
Then Joseph made a vow that he would do this. Then Israel bowed in thanks at the head of his bed. Genesis chapter 48. Blessings for Manasseh and Ephraim. Sometime later, Joseph learned that his father was very sick. So he went to see him and took his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him. When Joseph arrived, someone told Jacob,
"Your son, Joseph, has come to see you."
Jacob was very weak, but he tried hard and sat up in his bed. Then Jacob said to Joseph,
God all-powerful appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan. God blessed me there. He said to me, "I will make you a great family. I will give you many children, and you will be a great people. Your family will own this land forever. Now, you have 2 sons. These 2 sons were born here in the land of Egypt before I came. Your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, will be like my own sons. They will be like Reuben and Simeon to me. So these 2 boys will be my sons. They will share in everything I own. But if you have other sons, they will be your sons. They will also be like sons to Ephraim and Manasseh. That is, in the future, they will share in everything that Ephraim and Manasseh own." On the journey from Mesopotamia, Rachel died in the land of Canaan. This made me very sad. We were still traveling towards Ephrath. I buried her there on the road to Ephrath.
which is now called Bethlehem. Then Jacob saw Joseph's sons and said,
"Who are these boys?"
Joseph said, "These are the sons God has given me here in Egypt." His father said,
"Bring them here. I want to bless them."
Jacob was old and could not see very well, so Joseph brought the boys close to him, and Jacob hugged and kissed them. Then Jacob said to Joseph,
I thought I would never see your face again. But look, God has let me see you and your children.
Then Joseph took the boys off his father's lap and bowed down with his face to the ground before him. Then he stood up, took Ephraim with his right hand and Manasseh with his left hand, and faced his father. So both the boys were standing in front of Jacob, Ephraim on his left and Manasseh on his right. But Jacob crossed his hands and put his right hand on the head of Ephraim, who was younger. Then he put his left hand on Manasseh, who was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said,
I pray to the God my ancestors Abraham and Isaac served, the God who has led me like a shepherd all my life. He was the angel who saved me from all my troubles. I pray that he will bless these boys. May they cause people to remember my name and the names of our ancestors Abraham and Isaac. I pray that the earth will be filled with their descendants.
Joseph saw that his father put his right hand on Ephraim's head, and this upset him. He took his father's hand and tried to move it from Ephraim's head and put it on Manasseh's head. He said, "Father, that's the wrong boy. Put your right hand here on Manasseh's head. He is the firstborn." But his father refused and said,
I know that, son. I know. Manasseh is the firstborn, and he will also become a great nation. But his younger brother will be even greater, and his descendants will become many great nations.
So Jacob blessed them that day. He said,
The Israelites will use your names whenever they bless someone. They will say, My God be as good to you as he was to Ephraim and Manasseh.
by putting Ephraim's name first, he meant he would be greater than Manasseh. Then Jacob said to Joseph,
You can see that it is almost time for me to die, but God will still be with you and will lead you back to the land of your ancestors. I am giving you something more than I gave your brothers. I give you the land on the mountainside that I took from the Amorites with my sword and bow.
Matthew chapter 16, verses 21 to 28. Jesus says he must die. From that time, Jesus began telling his followers that he must go to Jerusalem. He explained that the older Jewish leaders, the leading priests and the teachers of the law, would make him suffer many things. And he told his followers that he must be killed. Then on the third day, he would be raised from death. Peter took Jesus away from the other followers to talk to him alone. He began to criticize him. He said,
God, save you from these sufferings, Lord. That will never happen to you.
Then Jesus said to Peter, Get away from me, Satan! You are not helping me. You don't care about the same things God does. You care only about things that people think are important. Then Jesus said to his followers, If you want to be my follower, you must stop thinking about yourself and what you want. You must carry the cross that comes with following me. Have you tried to save the life you have? You will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find true life. It is worth nothing for you to have the whole world if you yourself are lost. You could never pay enough to buy back your life. I, the Son of Man, will come again with my Father's glory and with his angels, and I will reward everyone for what they have done. Believe me when I say that there are some people standing here who will live to see me coming as the Son of Man to rule as King. Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 through 13. 6 days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and went up on a high mountain. They were all alone there. While these followers watched him, Jesus was changed. His face became bright like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. Then two men were there, talking with him. They were Moses and Elijah. Peter said to Jesus,
Lord, it is good that we are here. If you want, I will make 3 shelters here. One to honor you, one to honor Moses, and one to honor Elijah.
While Peter was talking, a bright cloud came over them. A voice came from the cloud and said,
This is my son, and I love him. I am very pleased with him. Do what he says.
When his followers heard the voice, they were so afraid they fell to the ground. But Jesus came to them and touched them. He said, Stand up, Don't be afraid." When the followers looked up, they saw Jesus was now alone. As Jesus and the followers were coming down the mountain, he gave them this command: "Don't tell anyone about what you saw on the mountain. Wait until the Son of Man has been raised from death. Then you can tell people about what you saw." The followers asked Jesus,
Why do the teachers of the law say that Elijah must come before the Messiah comes?
Jesus answered, "They are right to say Elijah is coming. And it is true that Elijah will make all things the way they should be. But I tell you, Elijah has already come. People did not know who he was, and they mistreated him. They did to him whatever they wanted to do. It is the same with the Son of Man. Those same people will make the Son of Man suffer." Then the followers understood that when Jesus said Elijah, he was really talking about John the Baptizer. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 1 through 10. Trust the Lord.
My son, don't forget my teaching. Remember what I tell you to do. What I teach will give you a good, long life, and all will go well for you. Don't ever let love and loyalty leave you. Tie them around your neck and write them on your heart. Then God will be pleased and think well of you, and so will everyone else. Trust the Lord completely, and don't depend on your own knowledge. With every step you take, think about what He wants, and He will help you go the right way. Don't trust in your own wisdom, but fear and respect the Lord, and stay away from evil. If you do this, it will be like a refreshing drink and medicine for your body. Honor the Lord with your wealth and the first part of your harvest, and your barns will be full of grain, and your barrels will be overflowing with wine.
Thank you, everyone. That was day 24. Join us for day 25. We're going to finish the book of Genesis. Jacob goes through and blesses his sons, but it's not all kind words, as Jacob calls out some of the bad things they did. And at the end of it all, Joseph's brothers ask for his forgiveness. And in the book of Matthew, Jesus frees a boy from an evil spirit and answers some tough, frequently asked questions, like, should his disciples pay taxes? And who of all the followers is the greatest? We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design? Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.